The weirdest and wackiest mobile phones you won't admit you owned. Number 1. Samsung P300. The Samsung P300 was a titchy phone that resembled a calculator. It was an odd design choice from a company that had crafted some pretty good-looking phones before it, but certainly stood out from the crowd. Number 2. C91 Golden Buddha Phone. In 2009, the C91 Golden Buddha phone appeared. This clamshell-style phone had a luxury gold design with Buddhist stylings centered around a swastika as a symbol of divinity and spirituality. Despite its weird looks, the phone actually wasn't too bad on paper. It had a 2-inch screen, 1.3 megapixel camera, dual SIM support and more. Number 3. Haier P7. The Haier P7 was an extravagant-looking candy bar-styled phone that released in 2004. It had a tiny and slim screen that was only capable of displaying 64 by 128 pixels, a 0.3 megapixel camera and a quirky design. It was able to last as much as 6 days on a single charge though, so there's that. Number 4. LG G Flex. We actually had a lot of good things to say about the LG G Flex back in the day. It was an interesting phone with a shape that was designed to make it stand out from the crowd. At the time we thought people might have found it too large, too expensive and too weirdly shaped to be popular, but it was still something special. Number 5. Virgin Mobile Lobster. Back in 2006, the Virgin Mobile Lobster was a television phone, i.e. a phone you could watch TV on. At the time, it might have been a bit of a marvel, but that's so common now it's almost archaic. The Lobster had a DAB digital tuner and the ability to watch terrestrial television on the go. Alas, getting signal was a faff and this Lobster was undercooked. Number 6. Microsoft Kin. The Microsoft Kin was a bit of a flop. Its launch was delayed due to issues with the operating system, had problems with pricing and also seemingly was put on the back burner due to the upcoming release of the Windows Phone 7. Number 7. Motorola Flip-Out. The Motorola Flip-Out was a dinky little phone with a square design and a flip-out screen, hence the name. A proper QWERTY keyboard and a satisfying swivel action were almost certainly highlights of this phone. It was a cheap phone and it showed, but we still liked it. Number 8. Motorola StarTAC Rainbow. One of the oldest phones on our list as a product of the 1990s. A colorful little flip phone device from Motorola. Number 9. Nokia 7280. There was something undeniably charming about the Nokia 7280. At a glance, it looked like a futuristic bit of kit that belonged in Star Trek or Doctor Who rather than in your pocket. The Nokia 7280 was designed to be a style-focused device and a bit of a fashion icon. It had a screen that also worked as a mirror, some fabric accents and even a numberless dial pad. It was much more of a fashion statement than a useful and convenient device, but certainly a looker. Number 10. Nokia 7600. The Nokia 7600 was the company's first venture into 3G phones. It sported an unusual jewel-shaped design, a large screen, for the time, and a keypad that was spread out around the edges of the screen. We thought the Nokia 7600 to be a little unusual when we first clapped eyes on it, but it certainly grew on us. Number 11. Nokia 7700. The Nokia 7700 was an interesting device that never was. It was intended to be a media-centric device with a large 3.5-inch color touchscreen with a resolution of 640 x 320 pixels. It certainly would have been a weird-looking device that would have stood out from the crowd. This phone was also set to include a full suite of applications including a word processor, spreadsheets and more. It was unfortunately cancelled in 2004, likely due to the company refocusing on standard mobile phones due to decreasing market share. Number 12. Nokia 7710. For 2005, the Nokia 7710 was a monster of a phone. A hefty device with a wide touchscreen and PDA styling. It was brilliant for gaming and a great bit of kit for productivity too. It was unfortunately held back by a lack of speed and number 3G but otherwise a great phone to use. Number 13. Nokia N93. In 2006, Nokia launched the Nokia N93. This device was focused on video capture first and foremost. It had a 2.4-inch 262K color QVGA display, a 3.2 megapixel camera with Carl Zeiss optics and the ability to capture footage at 30 frames per second as well. The N93 might have a taste of things to come as future devices would have better and better video and photo capture capabilities. Number 14. Nokia N-Gage. The Nokia N-Gage was one of the first gaming phones on the market and was an attempt to draw in Game Boy fans. Gaming snobs weren't terribly impressed at the design and preferred dedicated devices, but there was something special about having one device that could do both. Number 16. Samsung Galaxy Round. The Samsung Galaxy Round appeared to be Samsung's answer to the LG G Flex. It sported a curved display designed to result in a good feel in the hand as well as some impressive specs. It did feel like an unnecessary design extra though, and the Galaxy S4 proved more popular and the curved screen fad soon died out. Number 17. Samsung Juke. The Samsung Juke was another phone that doubled as a dedicated music player. When closed, it was used for music playback. When swiveled open, it became a mobile phone. It was a compact, well-made and easy-to-use phone that we thought highly of. However, it wasn't nearly as functional as other phones of the day and some felt it was lacking. Number 18. Samsung Matrix. The Samsung Matrix, the SPHN 270, was made in 2003 as a limited run to coincide with the film trilogy. It was designed to look like a phone used in The Matrix Reloaded and was intended to be a collector's item rather than an everyday smartphone. As such, it wasn't terribly feature-rich. It had no MP3 capabilities, couldn't play video, and it didn't even have a web browser. Not terribly futuristic, but nonetheless, it would probably fetch a bomb on eBay these days.
Number 19. Siemens Xelibri. In 2004, Siemens released the Xelibri range of phones. Devices that were intended to be fashion-focused. So much so they were released in collections. They were marketed as fashion accessories and were sold with a high price tag. They were, unfortunately, very much style over substance. They might have been eye-catching devices for the time, but the hardware underneath was essentially low-end tech with very basic features. Number 20. Telson TWC 1150. Oh boy. The Telson TWC 1150 was something special. A phone that you could wear on your wrist. Probably way ahead of its time and certainly not as snazzy as modern smartwatches, but something unique for sure. Number 21. Toshiba G450. Toshiba is not normally a name you'd associate with a mobile phone manufacturer. The G450 was one of the company's forays into the space though. It was a weird one too. A device that we thought looked like a bloated USB stick with an odd design that included 3 round sections for the dial pad and screen. It was an interesting concept, but lacked many of the things you'd expect from a mobile phone, including a camera, decent screen and more. Number 22. Yotaphone. Yotaphone was an unusual device that launched back in 2013 and promised the best of both worlds with the combination of a standard smartphone screen on one side and an ebook style one on the other. Quirky, quaint and ever so slightly bonkers. We actually thought it was pretty nifty. A year later the Yotaphone 2 followed, so it must have been semi-popular. Number 23. Nokia 9 Pure View. In the last couple of years, smartphone makers have been cramming more and more cameras into devices to give us better snappers in our pockets. But the Nokia 9 Pure View might be the most memorable. It's a weird and wonderful phone with 5 cameras designed to give you a very unique camera solution. It's actually a really interesting device, but certainly weird looking.
Number 24. Motorola V70. The Motorola V70 sported an instantly recognizable design and was another phone that was thought of as more of a fashion phone than a standard phone back in its day. It sported a swiveling circular monochrome panel with a neon backlight keypad and interchangeable frames. Aside from looks, it also had a WAP browser, GPRS capabilities, a vibrating mode and voice dialing too. Number 25. Motorola V100. The Motorola V100 was all buttons and one heck of a message-centric device. It was seen as the phone that started, or at least supported, the two-way messaging craze back in the day. Number 26. Palm Phone. In early 2019, TCL tried to capitalize on the Palm brand with a new device in the form of the Palm Phone. We thought this tiny phone to be cute and eye-catching, but found it a little bit odd. What's the point in a small companion phone for another phone that's already in your pocket? Number 27. Meizu Pro 7. The Meizu Pro 7 was the first smartphone with a small screen on the rear. This phone had a 1.9-inch screen that could be used for setting up selfies, and it was certainly unusual. We found it had a few niggles that let the design down, but generally, it was a great little device. Number 28. Sprint Kyocera Echo. In 2011, The Kyocera Echo tried to combine two screens to combine the usefulness of a tablet with the convenience of a smartphone. It was a decent phone, but certainly looks ancient and outdated compared to the modern foldable devices that are popping up.